Contraband Police is a work of fiction. The game is inspired by reality, but any unauthorized resemblance to actual events, or real persons, living or dead, is purely coincidental. The story, names, characters and locations portrayed, were created solely for entertainment purposes. Karikaka Border Crossing. Akaristan, the 16th of April 1981. When you start playing the game for the first time, you'll be transported to your border crossing station. A colleague is telling you that all the other colleagues do not believe you're going to survive for a week. Only your commander is seeing something in you. With this knowledge, you have to start your job as a contraband police officer, or border control officer. Once arrived at the border control post, you have to pick up your working documents first. You can find those in the office. This is your duty folder. You will use this the whole time. In the duty handbook, you can find all the information you'll need. The first part is tutorials. All you need to know about checking the traveler's papers, vehicle, etc. From the early beginning, you already get an extra task at hand. KGP files, probably a reference to KGB files, are stolen from the headquarters, and it's your job to find them back. And just like that, your first work day starts. Every day, there will be people crossing the border. It is your job to check their papers and keep track of any special occasions that could occur. Like, for example, people from a certain country who can't cross the border. Or, wanted people for certain crimes they did, or signalized smugglers. There can even be occasions on which broken cars can't cross the border. A lot of things are possible, and you'll always find those specials on the message board. In this case, the driver had all his papers in order, and thus, he can pass the border. After every checkup, you'll get a rate. When that rate is perfect, you will earn the most money. When you made a mistake, for example by missing something that was wrong, and should have been flagged on the inspection report, you will earn less, or even have to pay, for doing it all wrong. But not everything goes as it should. The next driver is a perfect example of someone who doesn't have his papers in order. As you can see, the passport number was not identical to the entry permit. Additionally, the picture on the passport didn't resemble the man behind the steering wheel. For these infractions, you have to deny the person to enter the country. Eventually, every day ends with you going to your sleeping quarters. Sleep regenerates the level of your perception, required for automatic document comparison. A full generation takes 8 hours. When you have money enough, you can upgrade your quarters, to increase your level of health and perception. When a day passed, and you're going to sleep, you get an overview of the day's finances. Every day, you need to pay for maintenance of the buildings, vehicle service and salaries. It's of the utmost importance that you pass the days, without making any mistakes. Only that way, you'll be able to pay for everything, and put some money aside. At this point, we only did easy and simple border checks, but if you continue further into the game, you'll learn that money is more than needed, because a lot more than just checking papers is going to come at you. As mentioned earlier, you have to check the message board every other morning. On the board, you'll find messages related to entry regulations and smugglers. You will have to pay attention to these extra factors that come into play. Right now, we have a potential smuggler, as mentioned on the board. In this case, you shouldn't take any risks, and order the driver to step out of the vehicle. With the driver now on the side and out of your way, you can start checking the car for contraband. You have to use your UV light. Markings will get visible at the spots where contraband is hidden. The following you need to do is use the right tool to make the contraband pop up. The first tools to use can be found on the table in front of the office. Later in the game, you'll have to order and buy tools at a local shop. This time, we're having cocaine as contraband. The cocaine was hidden in the back seat of the vehicle and in the engine compartment. At After you seize the drugs, you have to take the driver into custody. In the office, there's a small prison cell. Bring the person in custody to that cell. Criminals who are awaiting transport to the labor camp are held here. You can upgrade the prison cell to increase the maximum number of held criminals. The warehouse is the place where you can store your tools, weapons, recovered contraband, and goods for trade. You can upgrade the warehouse to increase the number of storage slots. Items that you don't place into storage will get lost. After checking a vehicle and finding contraband, you will have to call your colleague Maximo. He's the man that will clear out the checking place. That means that he will return offloaded goods back to the vehicles, and get rid of vehicles of which the owner got arrested. Depending on what you have to check, there are different tools to open up whatever you need to open up. We already showed the knife, but there are other tools as well, such as the pitchfork, crowbar or axe. You can always find the usage of the tools in your handbook. Cooking stoves can be simply opened up. Cement bags need to be cut open with a knife. Crates need to be opened with an axe. Barrels with a crowbar. And with the pitchfork you check the bales of hay. The tools and weapons have a wear-off level. The more you use them, the more they wear off. That means that you will have to replace them in time. Replacing tools can be done at Vlad's tool store. A bit later into the game, you will also be able to call him to request a delivery of tools or weapons. Prisoners need to be brought to the labor camp. First, you take them out of the small cell, after which they get teleported to the police car. Jump into the van and drive towards the labor camp. You can find the location on the map. Once you're there, just drive inside. Sergeant Monolov is waiting for you. Talk to him to get the prisoners transferred towards the camp. Seized contraband needs to be transported towards the police base. First, you need to take everything out of the warehouse. Then, you need to go to the police car and put the contraband in the back. Get into the car and drive towards the police base. Once arrived, you need to drive into the hangar. On the left, you'll find Commissioner Andreev taking a nap. Talk to him to transfer the contraband. When you are on the move, it's also possible that you end up being ambushed. At that point, you can choose what to do: fight back, or flee the scene. At the end of the day, when you get back to your border control post, you can ask Constable Ripnine to repair whatever damage you have on the car. The Oberankov's gang is an organized criminal group operating in Karikavka. They are involved in smuggling, arms dealing, and kidnapping for ransom. They are in constant conflict with the Contraband Police. This is one of the factions you can find yourself against. Defeat them to defend the control post. Once you got leveled up, you'll get orders over the phone as well. This really spices things up a bit. This game doesn't just exist out of control at the border, checking people's papers, seizing contraband, or defending the base. There is much more to do. At this point, I only had 4 hours of playtime in the game. That means that there is so much more for me to discover, but I can already say that this game isn't boring. The variety in my daily routines is making me eager to play more. If you're a fan of this kind of simulator games, I'm pretty sure you're going to have quite some fun with this one. Contraband Police is developed by Crazy Rocks and got published by Playway. The game got launched on Steam on the 8th of March 2023. As for now, the reviews are very positive. I'm definitely going to play some more. Following Sergeant Gavrilov is the first assignment you get. He is part of the faction Blood Fist, as you can see on the flag that is hanging against the wall on the left. This faction is trying to get rid of communism within the regime. After he tells you a story, it's up to you to make a choice. What are you going to do? Are you going to help this faction out? Or are you a true supporter of the communist regime? All my footage is going to be available on YouTube. Whether that's going to be in the form of a guiding video or just stream footage, it'll be out there for you to watch and enjoy.